Here's the progressive news headlines for Wednesday, August 19th. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made the most of her 90-second speaking slot. Was going to be 60, but people complained, so she got another 30 seconds. At the DNC last night, did you see? She condemned the unsustainable brutality of an economy, her words, unsustainable brutality, of an economy that allows the very few at the top to hoard obscene wealth at the expense of many, and celebrated the nationwide grassroots effort to advance transformative change in a nod to Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential bid, which you could see when they did the countdown of, giving the delegates. A lot of states still pledged quite a few delegates to Bernie Sanders. In a nod to Sanders' presidential bid, which of course AOC supported, she applauded those who organized a historic grassroots campaign to reclaim our democracy. And she ended her speech, which I basically just told you all of since it was only 90 seconds that they gave her, by nominating Sanders for president, which several corporate media outlets immediately depicted as a snub of former Vice President Joe Biden, when in fact the nomination is standard convention procedure. Let's take a look at her actual speech.
Bienvenidos, and thank you to everyone here today endeavoring towards a better, more just future for our country and our world. In fidelity and gratitude to a mass people's movement working to establish 21st century social, economic, and human rights, including guaranteed health care, higher education, living wages, and labor rights for all people in the United States. A movement striving to recognize and repair the wounds of racial injustice, colonization, misogyny, and homophobia, and to propose and build reimagined systems of immigration and foreign policy that turn away from the violence and xenophobia of our past. A movement that realizes the unsustainable brutality of an economy that rewards explosive inequalities of wealth for the few at the expense of long-term stability for the many, and who organized a historic grassroots campaign to reclaim our democracy. In a time when millions of people in the United States are looking for deep, systemic solutions to our crises of mass evictions, unemployment, and lack of health care, in el espíritu del pueblo and out of a love for all people, I hereby second the nomination of Senator Bernard Sanders of Vermont for President of the United States of America.
Oh, we've had a problem. And now we don't. I fixed it. Thank you, everyone, for texting me about that. So did you just read my lips over the course of the last 5 minutes? I apologize for that technical difficulty. We're still sort of got the new technology up and running here. And although it is exciting, shit happens. All right. Well, anyway, I was just saying, and I'll give you the brief, that the environmentalists are pissed off because the DNC made a decision to remove an amendment to the party platform that calls for an end to the federal subsidies to the fossil fuel industry. That amendment was in there, and Biden and Harris both supported him during the primaries. They just got nominated yesterday, and all of a sudden it's not there anymore. HuffPost's Alexander Kaufman, the regular ACT.tv contributor here, said Tuesday that the officials added an amendment to the manager's mark, which is that ledger of party demands voted on as the omnibus package, saying that, Democrats supported eliminating the tax breaks and subsidies for fossil fuels and will fight to defend and extend tax incentives for energy efficiency and clean energy. But the amendment is not there now that the final version is out. So what's up with that? Contact the DNC at democrats.org and demand that they return the amendment to the party platform. That's where we're at with that. Also in the news today, civil rights advocates are promising to continue fighting to thwart any attempt by the Trump administration to sabotage the U.S. Postal Service and the 2020 general on Tuesday after the postmaster general announced he would suspend changes to the post office operations until after the November election. Since DeJoy's tenure began, mail sorting machines have been decommissioned at post offices. I'm sure you've heard about this already. They're just taking the collection boxes right off the street. The changes have led to reports of widespread mail delays. I haven't gotten my absentee ballot just yet. I think they mailed them quite a while ago. There are widespread fears that millions of people will be disenfranchised in November, particularly Democrats, as it turns out, who plan to vote by mail due to the coronavirus because they actually believe in a coronavirus. So they're going to vote by mail. Activists, officials, and groups from Pennsylvania's Attorney General's office and the Progressive Coalition for Democracy say this fight is not over yet. And finally, in our newscast today, LGBTQ rights advocates are celebrating. We're ending on some good news. After a federal judge temporarily blocked part of the Trump administration's healthcare rule that would scrap the Obama-era non-discrimination protections for transgender patients, which was supposed to take effect Tuesday, the rule, finalized by the Department of Health and Human Services in June, would roll back the Obama-era definition of discrimination on the basis of sex under the Affordable Care Act. Critics warn that the rule would embolden discrimination against transgender patients that are seeking care. The legal victory was a step in the right direction, Human Rights Campaign President Alphonso Davis said in a statement, vowing that his organization will continue to fight the administration's attempts to dehumanize and stigmatize the LGBTQ community. And those are the progressive headlines for August 19th. Thanks for joining us. You're watching ACT TV.